Okay, good morning, everybody. We're today continuing with the Megilat Esther. If you recall, we started, I'll be honest, I don't remember where we stopped off. We did background information in time, a timeline. We also, I think, did a geography where it is, where we're talking about. We are in, so I'll just recap that. So we should get into the framework. Okay, we're talking about after the Galut of Bavel, being exiled from Eretz Yisrael. It's almost 70 years after. Okay, the exile of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Bavel. And we have the Nevuah that after 70 years we will be returning. And we I think discussed Belshazzar, the son of Nebuchadnezzar, thinking 70 years was up. And he made also a big feast with the clay Bet HaMikdash, and how Daniel tells him that it's not, and there was the writing on the wall that he told him that Hashem is going to take revenge. And actually, that same night, Belshazzar was killed by Paras and Madai, two people one from Paras, one from Madai, we're talking about Iran area. Bavel is more Iraq. And they killed out the whole family. Did we discuss this? I teach so much, I don't remember. Killed out the whole family of Belshazzar and left one child. History repeats itself. One child, a 12-year-old, Vashti. She was left from the dynasty of Bavel, Iraq, and they took over, and it became the dynasty or the reign of Paras and Madai, Koresh and Daryavesh. Koresh actually lets the Jews go back to Israel to build the Bet HaMikdash. Only 42,000 Jews go back, which shows a little bit in what place the Jews were. A little bit not reading the map, not seeing what's going on, that empires are conquering them, conquering Eretz Yisrael, not heeding the call of our prophets, saying that Hashem is coming soon to take them out of Galut, that the 70 years are almost up. The non-Jews, and especially the monarchies that were ruling at that time, were very well aware, and they lived in fear because they figured if Hashem is coming back, Hashem is with us in exile, but I'm just using that expression, coming to take the Jews out. Like he said, Daniel said, Ani Daniel, binoti basfarim mispar hashanim asher haya dvar Hashem el Yirmiyahu. Daniel says, I'm looking at the words. Daniel went out the Galut with Nebuchadnezzar, Mordechai. This is the story of Daniel. That's the same Daniel in the lion's den. The Malachim, the monarchs at that time, saw God's miracles and God protecting the Jewish people. They wanted Jewish advisors. That's why, like Nebuchadnezzar took Daniel, and then Achashverosh took Mordechai. Okay, so he says, I saw in the books of Yirmiyahu, our prophet of the times of the exile, that there will be Lemalot Lecharvot Yerushalayim Shivim Shana, that it's coming, the 70 years is coming to an end. Okay, so he saw that and he told them, and the Jews, only 42, I use the word only 42 because there were Jews in 127 states under Achashverosh, under Koresh, they were able to go back. Okay, Then came Achashverosh, takes over the kingdom, the 127. He marries Vashti, who is actually, she is from a descendant, a granddaughter of Nebuchadnezzar. So it's joining Paras and Madai and Bavel. Achashverosh now has it all under him. And she hates the thought that the Beis HaMikdash will be built. She used to tease Achashverosh and yell at him, "What, you're going to rebuild something my grandfather Nebuchadnezzar destroyed?" And she actually is the one that halts the building of the Beit HaMikdash. I don't know if I mentioned here, Haman's 10 sons, they were killed and hung on the tree, right, on the gallows, right? Why did they deserve such a grave punishment? It says because they were the spies that lived in Yerushalayim, in Israel, that kept feeding Achashverosh, saying the Jews are planning a rebellion against you. Do not let them continue building the Beit HaMikdash. Okay, so this is a little bit the background showing the wickedness and the anger Hashem had on Achashverosh and also on the Jewish people that did not seize the opportunity. I mention it also because this is what the Rebbe always keeps telling us. Seize the opportunity, what's going on when the Goyim want to help us, want to show us a favor. These things are always time measured. They're not always there for us as we see it now. Stand, if you have the opportunity to go into, it was then in the Lebanese war, till Tsar and Sidon, to take over, Khan Yunis. We were there in these places already. Rafiach, take it over, grab it. Nobody expects you to give it away. Everybody understands that if you come with that, but if you come wishy-washy, only 42,000 go up, the rest of the millions stay, Shushan and everything else. You're giving a message. We'd rather mingle in the exile than, worrying about Eretz Israel and the Beit HaMikdash. And Achashverosh and Vashti fed on that, fed on our uncertainty and on our dragging our legs. Okay, Achashverosh, after he seizes power, I think we did this, tell me if I'm wrong, we did start the parak inside, right? Anybody? Okay, should I start it again? We'll do it inside, maybe.
Yes, I think we did.
We did, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is why it starts, Vahi b'mei Achashverosh. Who Achashverosh? This is that Achashverosh, that even when he was not king yet, he had this plan, Hamolech mehodu ve'at Kush, that he will reign over Hodu and Kush from the beginning till the end, have all the 127 states, it's like states, and will not let the Jews go back to build the Beit HaMikdash. And we said he moves the capital from Bavel to Shushan. Mordechai and moves with him and becomes an advisor. Some say before, some say after. Esther puts him in, some say before. And also, our Chachamim tell us, he moves because he was worried about the state of the Judaism of the Jews in the capital city. That, they'll be so excited they're in the capital city, they will start mingling and being more lax in their Yiddishkeit. So he moves with them, okay? And we do see it as when the Gemara says, why did the Jews deserve such a terrible, cruel decree? I mean, it's like Hitler won. It was complete destruction of the Jewish nation. We will see it inside. La rogu la shmid, la rogu la bed, kol am. The whole nation, mitaf ad nashim, children, women, and everybody. It says, because nehenu misudato shalota rasha, because we enjoyed being invited to the seudah. It's not that they ate. Everything was kosher, or they could have asked for kosher, lando, badatz, bet Yosef, whatever you wanted. It says, asot, kirtzon, ish, va'ish. They were able to order whatever they wanted, gluten-free, lactose-free, keto, every kind of diet that you wanted, and you could have as much as you want. It was a wonderful thing, but the fact that they enjoyed, and this is, I think, where we left off. I should have marked it down. I'm sorry. I think did we finish chapter 1? Did we get to Vashti's party? Anybody? No? Doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
So what? We did get or we didn't?
I think we did get to
Vashti's party, right?
Okay. So, yeah.
We were, okay, thank you, Alkalea. We were doing Hashverosh here. He made a party for 180 days. It was this is 3 years into being king, when he's already more assured of his place. We are going mostly according to Rashi and the Malbim. Okay, let's put that up. Rashi. He makes a party for the people in his for all the 127 nations, and then towards the end he makes a party for Shushan Habira, as you see here. Bimlot, when these days were over, the king made for all the people present in Shushan. He wanted to make sure that he is safe in his own capital. It was a 7-day party. Chachamim say that he started on Sunday and it finished on Shabbos, meaning the 7th day, when he calls Vashti, it was a Shabbos, okay? Where did he make it? In the court of the garden. Why in the court of the garden? Our Chachamim tell us that when he started pulling out tools, kelim, vessels from the treasures of the Bet HaMikdash of Yerushalayim, that actually Vashti in a way inherited from her grandfather, from Nebuchadnezzar, and therefore Achashverosh also, the Jews started getting a little bit uncomfortable. I do want to bring out that part. We do have a conscience. So they started leaving. And there in the garden, he again makes a big spread. You know, when you say you come to a very exclusive, fancy wedding, you eat, and then you say, you know, I better leave before the dessert. I'm like stuffed. I could see all those pastries and all the goodies that I will never make. This is my chance. I better leave before they take out the dessert. And then as we go out, we see the Viennese table outside that they made for the guest, and you get stuck there. This is how I picture it. So he catches them outside. And here Rashi says, in the garden where the vegetables and the trees, it's also hinting it was things we can eat. You know, there was no arla, no meiser, no trumot here that we had to take. We were able to eat that. And then it goes into, we went into these details. It goes into the chor, kapas, utchelet, all the types of embroidered linens and materials and marble columns and gold couches. And the golden floor, the pavement of green and white shell and onyx marble. This was like real high class. Why do we have to know that? And our Chacham tell us these are all things taken, kind of precious stones here, our sages identify them as a kind of precious stones, and according to the apparent meaning of the verse, these were their names, and it hints to things from the Mishkan, from the Bet HaMikdash. Or if you here it's written in a small ches, but in the, because I guess it's the internet, but in the Megillas, it's a big ches, saying that it's the 8 clothing of the Kohen Gadol. Achashverosh came out wearing the clothing of the Kohen Gadol. These are things so connected with the parshas that we're learning now, Vayakel and Pekudei, that we're learning how the Jews made these things with such mesiras nefesh, and we see how with such happiness, mesiras nefesh meaning excitement of making these things for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he, like so in such a crass way to show off, takes it and gets dressed with these things, with the clothing of the Kohen Gadol. You know, we're learning the parshas, 4 parshiyot on all these things. These are the kesef zahav. We're talking about a few thousand tons of gold and silver. We'll soon see the level of the riches, how Haman promises Achashverosh money for annihilating the Jewish people. We're talking about tons of gold and silver, not pounds. We're talking about tons, literally, you know, a ton in weight. Our Chum say, besides Korach, Haman was next in line to be the richest man in the world. Okay. All these things, all these vessels, clay, all the cups were made out of gold. Everything was kiyad hamelech, according to the bounty of the king. Okay. They did not use a cup twice. All right. And he didn't force them. Nobody was coerced. Okay. There are a lot of commentaries on this. And we did get to Vashti HaMalka, that she also made a party. Okay, if you see, it says here Vashti first and then HaMalka. Achashverosh looked at her as Vashti, just a beautiful woman. But she, when she made her party, she added to herself, she made the party not because she's a beautiful, simple woman, she's HaMalka. Okay, she made a party for the women. And on the 7th day, and if you look at Rashi, Rabbeinu Amru Shabbat Haya. Okay, it's important to remember, it was on Shabbat. Our Chachamim say she was punished on Shabbat because she used to, on Shabbat, have Jewish maidens serve her, and she made them be Mechal Shabbos purposely, and also she made them serve her undressed. And that's why Achashverosh, Midah Keneged Midah, he didn't do it because of that. He did it because he wanted to prove and seal the fact that he took her, not because she was Nebuchadnezzar's granddaughter, but he took her for her beauty. He was trying to put her in place. You are not worth your yichus, your heritage. Actually, your whole value is just your beauty. Here is a power struggle between a man and a husband and wife of who reigns, who's king. I'm not king because you're the granddaughter of the previous of Nebuchadnezzar and the daughter of Belshazzar. I'm taking you just for your beauty. Okay. So we see it in the next pasuk. Lehavi et Vashti hamalka lifnei hamelech beketer malchut, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the royal crown, to show the people and the princess her beauty, for she was a beautiful woman. Okay, so let's first do with Rashi. Oh no, okay. So here he calls her Vashti and then the Malka. The Malbim says this pasuk is written in, this verse is written in a very strange way. It should have been said to bring Vashti before the queen with the royal crown before the king. What does it mean to bring Vashti before the king with the royal crown? The royal crown is on the king or on the queen. So the Malbim says it was to bring Vashti undressed, and she will put on the crown only when she comes before the king, that he will make her queen. In other words, she comes to him to bring Vashti. She will be the queen before the king with the royal crown. He will put her the royal crown. The royal crown will be only when she's standing before the king. He was very, very calculated how to make her feel simple. But let's look at verse 12. But the queen Vashti, here it's Hamalka Vashti, but en Hamalka Vashti, in Hebrew it says she refused, the queen refused, Queen Vashti, I am queen, so I refuse, okay? So you see how they play with, Esther puts in the words in the right order of this debate. And also the Malbim points out, he sent simple chamberlains, simple servants to call her. And she was very insulted. And the king became angry, and his anger burnt in him, a double anger. He showed it outwardly, and inside he was burning with anger. Okay, let's see what Rashi says. Because leprosy broke out on her. This is something we know, that leprosy, tzarat, is a sickness that is not a virus. It is a holy sickness. It's something spiritual that comes out physically into our bodies. Only God could decree leprosy. We had it when we learned about Miriam, if you remember. She had said Lashon Hara and she got leprosy. Moshe said Lashon Hara and Am Yisrael, his hand became with tzarat. It is a sickness, an illness that doesn't come with a physical symptom. It is actually something holy. So the Megillah, the Medrash in the Megillah on the Megillah says, our rabbi said, and Rashi quotes them, because leprosy broke out on her in order that she should refuse and be killed, because she would force Jewish girls to undress and work on the Shabbos. It was decreed that she be stripped naked on the Shabbos. Okay? What are the two things Rashi claims that made him angry, made Achashverosh angry? Number one, that she refused, and also she sent him shameful words. She also embarrassed him by sending shameful words, okay? Is this where, I think this is where we left off, or we continued? Anybody?
I think that's where we left off. That's what I remember.
Okay, so here we see, again, the Malbim's way of thought. The king takes counsel with his chachamim, his lawyers, his wise men. What should we do? Which we could ask the question, what is he asking? Why is he asking? This is very clear. Rebellion, there is a law in the land. Person rebels against the king, doesn't listen to the king, his head gets chopped off. Why did he have to take counsel to know what to do? Okay. He wanted to know, according to the law, what shall be done? B'malka Vashti. First time we hear Achashverosh calling her Malka Vashti. If anything, it was Vashti or Vashti HaMalka. Now all of a sudden he's scared. Actually, it's not so simple. She is really queen. Is it the same law that she didn't comply to the king? What should I do? biyad asarisim. And he knew, I embarrassed her. I sent simple servants to call her. All right. So Memuchan, which our Chachamim tell us is Haman, he takes a twist on the plot. And he says, it's not just against you that she sinned, it's against the whole country, all the men in this country. All of a sudden, the women, and look how Memuchan calls her. He calls her Vashti and then the Malka. He keeps putting her back into her place. She was Vashti and then the Malka. She sinned against all of us, all the princes and all the people, by not listening to the king, because if the word of the queen, all of a sudden, now she's a queen, and she has to set an example for all the people. So this simple woman, forgot that she was also queen, and whatever she does will be studied by everybody else, and they will despise their husbands in their eyes, and they will see the king Achashverosh ordered Vashti, the queen, the simple woman who became queen, and this simple woman also didn't listen to her. This is a terrible thing. You see the play on words. First it's Hamalka Vashti, and then Vashti Hamalka. The dialogue is playing on this place of the woman, okay? And this is a terrible sin. It's not only she didn't listen to the king, she set a terrible example. And they will have contempt and anger against the king, and that will cause a lot of anger in the country. That's terrible. Okay, so he says, let's cause a royal gzera, decree, to go out and inscribe in the, okay, where all the feminists, or to scribe in the laws of Parasumadai that Vashti, here no more queen, that because Vashti did not come before the king, okay, no, she's stripped here of her title, somebody else will be chosen instead of her. Okay, only here do we see from Rashi that he commanded to execute. The Megillah does not say it direct. Okay, but it's written in the books of Parasu Madai that Vashti did not come and therefore she was executed. Okay, and part of the decree is also, not only do you have to listen, all the women should honor their husbands, both great and small. Okay, did you ever realize how much the Megillah talks about gender differences? And it's very important because we all know the end of the story. Achashverosh at the end is listening to Esther. The whole story starts with this, the story of Vashti, which is, why is it so important? Why can't it start with, there was a king Ahasuerus who had no wife, for whatever reason it was, and he chooses Esther. He looked for a pretty wife. He was threatened by his wife, who came from a royal family, so he chose a woman who was not royal, and it turned out to be a Jewish woman. Why this whole story? This, I could say, might be one of the Vinahapacho. He planned one thing. He and Haman had this thing of kavod, gedula, ruling. And they became master rulers, even in their own home. Like he says, that each man, look at verse 22, that every man dominates in his household and speak according to the language of his nationality. We have here 127 nationalities, maybe 127 different dialects. And it's up till even what tongue should be spoken at home was part of the edict. He can compel his wife, Rashi says, to learn his language if her native tongue is different. We're talking about absolute sovereignty, absolute ruling, absolute, it's like dictatorship. This is to prove what a big ness it was. If we ask, why was the Megillah written and became a holy book? It's to prove the ness. It's to bring out the ness. We're not talking about simple countries. We're not talking about simple rule, we had somebody connected and everything turned out fine and dandy at the end of the day. We're talking about fighting, what do you say, City Hall. We're fighting major power. And how this woman came, because Hashem sent her as a shliach and overturned everything. So, and now we also understand why it was a woman, because it's real v'nahafachu, real v'nahafachu. It's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. And you see the play in the words, how Esther, according to the Malbim, put everything in. Okay, let's go to chapter 2. Okay, I think we started this, but we could go back. Achar hadvarim ha'ela. After all this, we still have a man here. Achashverosh dacharet Vashti. He remembered. His fury subsided, and he remembered Vashti. She's not queen anymore. He remembered her beauty. He did not want to recall her yichus, where she came from. He just remembered her as a beautiful woman, and what was decreed. Okay, and he became sad. Rashi said. So here, Vayomen narei hamelech, the young servants, young men, okay? Before he took counsel with his chachamim, yodei din, this time he said, you know what? All those smart men, I listened to them and I lost my beautiful wife. This time, I'm not going there. He was afraid, according to the Malbim, that they will start each pushing their own agenda, their own girls. It's very, very not common, but this was the way of the world, that royalty married royalty, blue blood married blue blood. Commoners did not get into the royal family. It's only modern. They might bring it back after whatever, Malka, whatever the British crown went through with their commoners, American commoners, foreigners. It's commoners and foreigners you guys got this time. And look what's happening. So they stuck to blue blood, number one, because it's coming from, you're on the same level. Also, it was to strengthen their power, connections, make peace. It was a very political act, and it had a lot of background to every marriage had a lot of reasons. It wasn't just love affairs, or they weren't actually. But it was not because of the beauty of the woman. It was actually because of her connections and her background. So here we see Achashverosh is going off protocol, royal protocol, and he calls his simple servants, the young men, what should I do? I don't want all these royal I don't want to talk to my ministers. This one's going to say I should get a wife from France, and this one from Germany, and this from Belgium, and this one from Spain, and their daughter, that daughter, everybody pushing their own people. So he says, they say, let's gather young maidens that their only quality is their appearance, their beautiful appearance. And he listed right away. No council with all these 7 great ministers, and he appointed commissioners to all the provinces of his kingdom, and he said to gather young maidens, in Hebrew it's betulot, meaning unmarried women, that they should gather all the beautiful women, and he first starts in Shoshana Birah, and then we see later he wasn't satisfied. It went out to other states and areas, till at the end they started gathering also married women. And that's how Esther came into this contest. Okay, the king appointed commissioner. Each commissioner is familiar with beautiful women in his providence. Okay, they had connections with the beautiful women. Okay, and here again, Vashti is mentioned without her title. She was not called here again, the Queen Vashti, but Vashti. Okay, now here we said the chapter stopped, makes a pause on the story. Okay, the commissioners were sent out with a task to gather women. And there's a pause on Pasuk Hey that we say it out loud, the whole congregation, when we hear the Megillah being read, that the story of Esther and Mordechai. Ish Yehudi haya b'Shushan habira. He was called here, and this is the first time the Jewish nation is actually being labeled Yehudi, because we were coming from Malchut Yehuda, not from the kingdom of Yehuda. There was Yehuda and Israel. We know by the Churban we were divided into two kingdoms, Yehuda and Israel. So he was from the kingdom of Yehuda. This is the kingdom that went into exile with Nebuchadnezzar. He was not from the Shevet Yehuda. He was actually from the tribe of Binyamin, Yemini, Binyamin, a Benjamite. Okay, he was the son of Yair, who was the son of Shimi, who was the son of Kish, and it goes back till Shaul HaMelech, our first king. We discussed it when we discussed the hierarchy and the dynasty and the genealogy of Esther and Mordechai. They were from the tribe of Binyamin. Shim'i, it mentions here Shim'i. Shim'i was lived in the times of King David. Actually, Shim'i stuck up for his genealogy. Oh, I forgot the word again. Gynecolog, whatever. His heritage being from a grandson of King Shaul, when King David became king, and actually he tried to fight King David. He took the side against David HaMelech with David HaMelech's own son Avshalom, and cursed David HaMelech. And somebody said to David HaMelech, kill him, kill him. He's cursing. And it's a law in the Torah. You're not allowed to curse a king. And David HaMelech did not kill him. And from him came Mordechai HaYehudi. The Chachamim pointed out that that it's a very interesting thing. David HaMelech had pity on Shim'i and didn't kill him. Showed chesed, kindness to Shim'i, whereas Shaul HaMelech showed chesed to Agag. Did not kill Agag. Remember, I told you the story. He was supposed to kill the whole Amaleki nation, and he had pity on Agag, and did not kill Agag, and did not kill all the fat animals that he thought would be best to bring up to God as a korban, as a sacrifice, thanking God. Shmuel HaMelech, he kept Agag up one night. Shmuel Hanavi, the prophet, shows up to the camp of Shaul and said, what's this noise I hear of all the cattle and lamb? So he says, this is the price, the best lamb and cattle that we saved to bring up God. And Shmuel Hanavi chastises him and says, Hashem said to kill out everything. It's best to listen to God than bring sacrifices. Listen to Hashem and don't try to, bring him choice, quality sacrifices and gifts. And he was very angry. And then Shaul also reveals to him, I kept Agag alive, the king, I captured the king. And Shaul said, what? Shmuel says, why? You were told to kill everybody. Bring me Agag. And they bring him out. And Shmuel Hanavi chops off his head and kills him. That one night that Agag was left alive, he managed to be with a maid, a servant, and this became the mother or the grandmother, or the great-grandmother of Haman. And here, by pointing out that Shimei wasn't killed because of the chesed of David, because he was able to foresee that Mordechai will be born. This was chesed in the right place. The chesed of David versus the chesed of Shaul. Shaul also showed compassion, but it was not in the right place. David's compassion was in the right place. I think it's a very big lesson also for us today. The world is attacking us with pictures of, sorry for me being a little bit political, acting Jewish. The world is fighting against us with pictures of children in Gaza and claiming that we do not have compassion. This is so absurd, and this is so hypocritical. There's no other army that shows compassion like our army and our nation, letting them know, helping them leave. But by bringing in aid now is compassion in the wrong place. Compassion also has to have its limits. Shaul's compassion went beyond the limit of the law. When Hashem says, stop here, kill everybody out, it means kill everybody out. It's a law. We have to listen to Hashem. I heard the other day, my husband had here a class in the house, and, I like listening, so I sit in the kitchen. So I end up learning Tanya and Gemara and other things at the same time. And I heard one person saying, how do you explain the law of Zechar et Asher, of killing Amalek? I felt like yelling in the kitchen. We don't have to explain it. It's Hashem told us. Hashem told us we don't need explanation. And if we're afraid that the world doesn't think we have compassion, it's a wrong fear. This is not, we're supposed to fear God, not fear the world. That's who we're supposed to fear. And this pasuk is telling us this was a Yesh Yehudi. He was from the tribe. He was from Shimei, where David HaMelech showed compassion. But he was from the tribe of Binyamin, a descendant of Shaul, that did not show compassion. It's not no compassion. Compassion in the right place. Have chesed, have rachamim in the right place. Esther was supposed to show no rachamim because Haman was showing no rachamim. He said, kill out every single person. We have it black on white. It's also written in the Chronicles of Parasu Madai that the people in Iran and Iraq have a mandate in their chronicles written that they decreed that all the Jewish people should be killed. We should show compassion. We should bring buses of humanitarian aid. And if it doesn't work, we drop it from the heavens, from helicopters and from, put at risk our people. I mean, it's so absurd that it drives me nuts. So I'm sorry that I went off course, but, the Baal Shem Tov said, if you read the Megillah, it's the quote in Masechet Megillah, in the Gemara, that Hakoreta Megillah lemafreya lo yatsa. If somebody reads the Megillah, it means like, lemafreya means like something that happened years ago, or actually means not in the correct order, first Parak Aleph, and then Parak Gimel, and then Parak Beis, and then you skip to Hey. You know how we look through our books, skip around in the chapters. If you read it not in the right order, you are on Purim, you are not, you did not complete the mitzvah of hearing the Megillah. You're supposed to read the Megillah in order. The Baal Shem Tov put a twist on these words, and he says, "Hakoreta Megillah lemafreya." If somebody reads the Megillah and says, "Lemafreya," this happened years ago. We're in a different place. We're in Medinat Yisrael. It's history will not repeat itself, or it's something long ago. We should know. Bayamim hahem bizman hazeh. In those days, it's something that's happening now. It's the same energy in the positive sense. Hashem is letting down the same energy, giving us the strength to fight for our stand, to fight and open up the eyes of the Jewish nation and the eyes of the Goyim. And I think it's something that we have to, really work on now. I feel, we'll soon see that the decree, we discussed it, and we'll soon see it, the decree to kill out the Jewish people that the king signed and Haman sent out was done in Nisan. And the decree said that on the 13th day of Adar, all the 120 nations have to kill out the Jews in their neighborhood, okay? It was all over the world to kill out all the Jews. We had 11 months of that sword hanging over our heads. And, I'm doing a spoiler, but we all know this, we read the Megillah many times, that the king says to Esther, I can't bring back that decree. There was never a decree said, no, delete that, you cannot kill the Jews. What was the decree that Achashverosh sent after Esther spoke to him? It was just allowing the Jews to fight for their lives. So now we understand the first decree, that we weren't allowed to fight back. Yamdu al nafsham, they are allowed to fight back. So we had 11 months to prepare ourselves for the great, great war, the great ness, the great defense that happened on the 13th day of Adar. We don't celebrate on the 13th day of Adar. We fast on the 13th day of Adar because that was the day of the war. That's why it's called Tanit Esther. She's the only one that fasted because the rest were fighting for their lives. And we won that war. It could be, we won it with kitchen knives, rolling pins, shovels. I mean, the Jews were not given ammunition. We were supposed to prepare ourselves for the grand fight that the 127 nations had permission to kill us. Purim is the day after. We're celebrating the day after the miracle. when we finished fighting and sat down and said, hey, we won. This was a ness. So we're celebrating the ness. We're not celebrating the war. We're a different type of people. I don't think we always understand the magnitude of the ness, of the miracle. I feel now that we, with the captives, the war, we're in that 11 months. I mean, we shouldn't be there 11 months. 5 is more than enough. To look at what did the Jews do at that time? They stood their ground. They didn't budge. They prepared to fight for their lives. And that's what we're doing now. It's so parallel to me. It's so one-on-one that it's mind-boggling. I literally don't sleep at night, figuring this out. Like I'm living it. That, this thing that we have to prepare and be sure, know that we're standing for our lives and not let other people saying, what, you're going to kill us? Oh, well, you guys are trying to kill us also. You even have a decree from Achashverosh that you're allowed to kill us. So now we have a decree that we're allowed to fight for our lives. Okay, sorry for that, by the way, but to me it's so real. I read the Megillah, it's so real. Okay, so here, who was this, the Pasuk tells us, who was this Mordechai who has been exiled from Jerusalem? So we know Mordechai was in Yerushalayim, and he was from those that were exiled. So he's over 70 years old, because it's almost 70 years since the Galut so could be that Esther was also over 70, okay? I didn't look it up yet. He was exiled with Yechonia. Yechonia was exiled first, and then Yehoiachin, then Tzidkiyahu. It was in Shlavim, which Nebuchadnezzar, which we said was Vashti's grandfather. Okay, so just to put you the proportion, how old Mordechai was, he was together with Nehemiah and Daniel from the lion's den. And he had brought up Esther, that is Hadassah, his uncle's daughter. Okay, Bat Dodo, she was his cousin, the daughter of his uncle, for she neither had father nor mother. And the maiden was beautiful, comely form and comely appearance. And when her father and mother died, Mordechai took her to himself for a daughter. Okay, the Hebrew word for daughter, bat. Lekacha Mordechai lo lebat. Rashi says, Rabotenu Pirshu, our sages explain, lebait, meaning for a wife. So here is the source. Why did it freeze? Source that Mordechai and Esther were married. Okay, so here we also learn that Achashverosh started also gathering married women, those also who wanted to come and those who did not want to come. Not everybody wanted to be, stuck in that ivory tower just to serve Achashverosh's whims and lust and delights. Okay, also from the Persian women. So, and they were really taken by force. Right, so here we have the discussion of how did Esther go if she was a married woman. So from Achashverosh's part, she was forced. How did Mordechai let her be taken? So most are, and didn't say like, fight, argue, and maybe they'll kill you. Because we have 3 major sins that you have to stand b'msirut nefesh and maybe be killed. And one of them is being a married woman, being taken, being taken, end of sentence. Gilui arayot, shvichut damim, and avodah zarah. 3 things that we have to die for and not and not commit them. It's killing somebody, shvichut damim, to murder somebody, avodah zarah, serving idols, and improper relationships. And how come he didn't tell her, fight till they kill you? So in short, I'll just say that Mordechai saw that she has a mission. Okay, Raquel, what's your question? Also, I want to just say, before I take your question, I'd like to say an interesting thing that I heard from one of my sons in the name of Rabbi Yossi Jacobson. I don't know, why does it have such a show, like a sigh? Okay. A woman, I guess it was in a class, asked Rabbi Yossi Jacobson, why are we celebrating Esther's story? This is a woman that threw herself to the king. She should have been killed. So he said, without answering, the halachic and everything, let's fast forward 1942. Let's say a woman, a beautiful woman, found her way to Hitler Yimach Shemo's quarters. And she finds favor in his eyes, this Jewish woman. And she convinces him not to kill 6 million people. She saves 6 million people. Does she deserve to be hung by the Jewish people, or does she deserve to get a medal by the Jewish people? Okay, this is taking the story to Bayamim Hahem Bizman Hazeh. Okay, before we say, oh, Esther, fine. Raquel, let's hear your question.
Wow. I have a question. Befarshim, you said, right. אבל יש הסכמה כי it's like all the story change if she's married or not married, or nothing change if she's married or a bachelor, his daughter or his wife. To think that it's his wife, I feel like brings something מיותר on the story. It's not necessary to לפרש bite. I want to say why they מפרשים bite and not bat, like in the pshat. She did the mesilut nefesh, she did everything anyways. Why to, you understand what I'm asking?
Raquel, do you see me? Do you hear me? Anybody?
I see you.
Anybody? My computer just went into freeze mode. So I didn't hear your question. Let's start from the beginning.
I asked him why it's necessary to say, why it's necessary to לפרש bite isha, when in the pshat, all the mesilut nefesh, everything that she did is the same. In the moment when we said she's a wife, מסבך אותה וכאילו מלכלך אותה. Why לפרש bite?
That's the whole idea. That's the whole idea, to show the Mesiras Nefesh. It becomes a whole thing. Number one, you could say, why does it have to say? It says he took her into, he adopted her. It says, Omen et Esther. He adopted her. Why does it have to say, Lakach lo lebat? He took her as a daughter. He could have just taken her. Why the double language? And I actually, I think lahefech, it just shows the whole Mesiras Nefesh. She says later when he sends her, when she was taken, the law of Gilui Arayot, if a person is taken by force is one thing, but then when he tells her to go, she says to him, Kasher avadeti, now I am going. So I'm losing my olam hazeh, olam haba.
Do you realize what she's saying? Some of the Mefarshim say that all these 9 years that she was in Achashverosh's palace till this happened, and it's 9 years. We read it 3 verses, one after the other. But the decree was 9 years after the party that Vashti was killed. So let's say Esther was not crowned right away. It took 2 years to gather the women, and they should sit 60 days in this type of oils, and then another day. It took a long time to choose a bride, and let's say it took 2 years. So the Gzera was when Achashverosh was king 12 months or 12 years. Okay, so since Vashti was killed till the Gzera of Haman was 9 years. Esther was sitting in the Mlucha about 5. She was married to him about 5 years. So our Chachamim say that she used to go home. She used to go to Mordechai. Okay, and here when he tells her to go, he's giving up on her, and she says, "Kasher avadati, avadati. I will not be able to go back to you. Olam hazeh and olam haba." I think this is the major thing of the story. And that's one of the reasons the Rebbe says it's called Megilat Esther, not Megilat Esther and Mordechai. She was his wife. Okay, so it's very important to know she didn't write it out directly. She did it with a hint, lo lebat. She took him as a daughter. We have to realize where she's coming from. And she's coming to cleanse her father's name, her grandfather's name, to do a tikkun for her Shaul HaMelech.
And she was Jewish. It was intermarriage.
100%. 100%. But she saved over 6 million people. Okay, it's lo pashut, but with the reshut of Mordechai, it's a completely different thing. Mordechai was head of the Sanhedrin, and he told her to go. It's not me, you, and saying, "Oh, you know what? I think it's a good idea." He foresaw, and you see all the steps she takes. But how to do it was a step. The how, that's mind-boggling. The how to do it. We'll read it. We have another week. One more week. I hope to get to the end because I think it's a fascinating, it's the end of the Ksubim, the Tanakh. And I think it has everything in it. It's just unbelievable how it gives us strength. Okay. I'm standing because it's my phone, so I can't sit in one place so long. Anyway, so I have a class in 5 minutes to Prague, actually. I teach there, but on Zoom. So I must get my computer done before I have my 25 students there. Okay, so take care.
Thank you very much.
Mamash, excellent, excellent. Beautiful.
I'm glad you enjoyed. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Who's still on me? Malka, do you want to lead? Thank you.